Catch past episodes of Create, Build, and Manage Daily on demand. Go to bizvod.com for details.
Dynamic Solar was built on the principle that everyone should be able to afford clean solar energy. Jesse Keenan is the founder and CEO of Dynamic Solar, and he's in studio tonight. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. You and I were talking during the commercial break. I'm already learning about the solar business, but I want to start with the fact that you were veteran-owned. What branch did you serve in?
U.S. Army.
U.S. Army. Well, thank you for your service.
Thank you for your patriotism.
Absolutely. No, I appreciate that. What was it about the solar business that got you excited?
So there's a lot. I come from a 15-year career with one company in the security industry. And so for myself, being a former aviation mechanic and really enjoying engineering and innovation and the evolution of any industry, solar is definitely that. One, it's really fascinating if you learn some of the technology. I mean, at the end of the day, you're putting something out there in space that's capturing energy without any kind of connection leading back to the sun. So for me, it was not just a fascinating industry, but a really good opportunity to look at the space, which unfortunately has a reputation for low-level customer service and a high level of high-pressure sales. So with my account management background, it just made sense to bring in good people and provide clients a reputable company, high-integrity company, fair rates, but the follow-up part of it and the customer service is really where we hang our hat.
Solar energy has been around for a little bit, but it's still fairly new compared to other forms of energy. What are the benefits of switching to solar energy?
Sure, it's a great question. First off, solar energy, oddly enough, been around since the late 1800s.
Okay.
And so even the company we use as our flagship panel manufacturer been around over 7 decades.
Wow.
So definitely a newer industry, but I'd say mostly new to us consumers. And so some of the things we always want to highlight are the benefits, not just for the environmental piece, which are going to be key. A lot of these panels are able to stay in service for nearly 70 years. Warranty period's about 25 years. So when you're looking at a solution that is going to stay out of the landfill for half a century, it's going to be a huge perk. Financially, the federal government has some subsidies they've actually had for about a decade. But as a part of the Inflation Reduction Act, they enhanced those, extended a 10-year time period for our homeowners and community members to receive those tax breaks. And it's just a fantastic way to literally get paid for doing something you're going to do either way.
Right.
So sustainability, environmental, and financial.
And I think of all the different forms, and I'm real big into green or clean energy. I'm a big proponent of that when it works. And to me, what's exciting about solar energy is you're getting the sun. It's nothing that you're having to harvest. Yes, you had to manufacture the panel. I don't want to discount that. But that you said it lasts for 70 years, it seems like we're getting something from the sun versus having to go, something here on Earth, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's a big part of the challenge. If we go back and look at the freeze that happened 2 years ago, state of Texas was impacted pretty heavily. Right. And a big part of it, we've heard the old adage, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Mm-hmm. But then we have other companies out there. There's a cooler company out there that makes coolers for food and beverage. And the product wasn't broken, but they enhanced a product, made it virtually bulletproof. And now you see all these other companies in line kind of emulating that model.
Yeah.
And so love the state of Texas, actually born and raised here, but the infrastructure wasn't broken, but it could have used some love along the way.
Sure.
And so cool benefit with solar is you're pulling it in from your rooftop. And so we're not putting an extra strain on that grid, which I think most people in Texas are going to be pretty enthusiastic about.
And we're showing some pictures of some of your installations now. Your website, by the way, for those who are watching on BizTV, is dynamicsolardesign.com. Again, dynamicsolardesign.com. There it is for people that want to go to the website. I would think, you and I were having this conversation before the interview. I'm just peppering you with questions. You have to do a lot of educating. So how do you educate the community on solar?
Yeah, I appreciate you asking that. So a big thing that really separates us from the most of the competition out there is and some of my former sales managers would probably kill me for saying this, but we promise a consultation where no decision is to be made. And so it provides us a chance to come out and truly educate the homeowner, answer any questions they've had, whether they were a little kid and they thought solar was a cool feature back, further down the line when they owned a home, or if it's somebody who's thought about it once they move into their new house. And just having more of an educational forward approach without really making somebody feel the restraint of the sales pressure that we sometimes see within home sales.
And that's what makes you guys different.
It's a big part. That, and we're very economical. We use some of the best equipment literally on the planet. Our inverters are the #1 placed inverter that's ever been made or ever put into service. And so high level equipment, very fair rates, and a white glove customer service that we think is second to none.
You know, I hear all these incentives, and I see it on Instagram, I see it all over, all these promises. So we got a couple of minutes here. Bring some clarity as to what the federal incentives are and why people should consider getting solar today.
Thank you. First of all, the commercials we're seeing online are atrocious. I have no problem saying that. I'm a firm believer that you shouldn't have to embellish on a good thing. And so if something is what it should be, a quality product, a quality solution, just tell the people what they need to know, which is the truth. We don't need to embellish.
Right.
But the fact of the matter is there is a federal grant out there. It does pay homeowners, usually on average about $7,000 to $14,000, literally from switching from a regular utility bill over to a utility bill with a solar company. It's pretty straightforward. It is based on tax liability. So if you are somebody who's out there thinking about solar, definitely keep your mind open to the opportunity of truly getting paid for something you're going to be paying every month for as long as you stay in that house or the next house. Caveat there is, since the credit is tied back to tax liability, we always want to educate our retired homeowners that they may or may not be qualified for the full tax credit.
Okay.
But it is able to roll over for multiple years, up to 5 years, just in case you're somebody maybe fully or partially retired, maybe paying for Social Security and really having just a smaller tax liability. So that's one thing we want to educate people on, so they know that the benefits are real, but they might not work well for everybody if you're somebody who's already retired.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. What some misconceptions about solar? So I think one of the misconceptions, if you don't have a backup battery, when the power goes out, I'm going to continue to have power. That's not the case if you're selling power back to the line, is it? Correct.
And that's exactly right. There's a lot of intentional bad information we've heard from some members that are in the industry that are trying to provide a solution, keeping it as fairly priced as possible without the use of a battery, but providing a promise that's just a fallacy, right? We do need the battery there in order to keep the power generated during an outage. And if we don't have that, then...
Oh man, so much more information I want to ask you, Jesse, but I appreciate you coming in today. And the website again is dynamicsolardesign.com. If you're even thinking about it, they're going to give you some education. That's dynamicsolardesign.com. Stick around. This is Create, Build, and Man It's Daily.